Hey there, welcome to another episode of Mundane Designs. I'm your host Mundane, and this video is part of my video game repair series, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Sony PS1. So I've been a fan of Sony for quite some time. I've actually enjoyed their televisions quite a bit. I mean, you can see the one that's back there. It's a Trinitron. I have a few Trinitrons. And I was a big fan of the PlayStation 1. One of the first games I played on it was Final Fantasy Tactics, and then right afterwards I was playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So yeah, it was kind of banger after banger for me. Plus, it was one of the better CD players that I had access to, with like a better visualizer and stuff like that. And then later in life, the PS1 came along. And this little guy here was great. I loved being able to take a PlayStation 1 anywhere and everywhere I could go. And I loved the back screen. Now, this is not my original one. My original one, my lid switch, the electronics in it actually went out, and I replaced it with a little toggle switch. Didn't do the greatest of jobs, but I was new to modifying things and stuff, and I did what I could. This one is the second PlayStation 1 that I picked up. I picked it up earlier this year, and I picked it up at this antique mall, and it wasn't in the best of shape. I'll admit that. It's still got some scuffs on it you can possibly see, but this guy right here had one of the more common issues with it. And most of you might already know what that common issue is. It wasn't the power one. Now, that issue I have not addressed at all. It did have the other issue where the lid switch was sticking and either was not functioning and letting this come up, and so the system couldn't open, or when you finally got it to do it, you couldn't close the lid back. It would just keep on doing that, simulating this by holding the button down. And everyone in the world says that when you try to fix that mechanical issue, that you have to take the whole system apart. I'm here to tell you they're wrong. And case in point, this guy has the shiny little silver thing, sticker back here. And yeah, I didn't do any heat gun tricks or anything like that. And so I'm going to show you exactly how you can fix the lid for this thing and not have to worry about taking yours apart. If you don't want to take yours apart and it's working fine and there's no power issues, we're just going to go through. I'm going to give you a nice top-down view of exactly how I got this button off of this one, and I'm actually going to use this one again and just take it off, show you guys exactly how it works, and hopefully you guys can repair yours as well without having to break the warranty sticker. Right, so we have our PlayStation 1 right here. And for argument's sake, we'll say that the eject button is not working properly. The first thing that you'll need is the correct tool. I went on to Amazon and I found a toolkit that is essentially this. Now, I don't have all of my tools in this bag right now, but I did pull out the one that I do need. And that will be this guy right here. This is just essentially a little metal pry bar kind of thing. And see if I can get you guys a little bit better view of it. And you would think to use this end, but that's actually incorrect. we're going to be using this end. And then you have to realize that the tension that is holding this button in is here and here. Now there's more room over here, so I'm going to gently slide down and kind of pry a little bit. And I didn't get it that first time, so I'll just gently do it again. All right, now I felt it pop up, and I'm gonna lift up the system and let you see at an angle that you see how it is. Right there is now a gap. So you take the tool and you put it under the gap and you slightly pop it off, and hopefully don't pop it across the room like I just did. But like I said, it's fairly easy, and I've already put some like grease in here, but you see those two holes? That's where, those two holes are exactly where the clip goes in on these. And that's where I put in and put a little bit of pressure and popped it out. I did it on this side because there's less of a collar or less body of the system on this side. So that's what I would suggest. Use very light pressure, don't yank it or anything like that. You're trying to coax it out, you're not trying to force it out. And even then, all you need is the retention clip to pop up and hit the inner side of the wall right here, so that it makes it where you can slip this underneath and pop it off. Now I have the button, and it's right here. You can take a look at it. Now I've also put a little bit of grease on this part here just in case. You know, and there's nothing wrong with lubricating this. And there's this post right here that lines up with this hole so that you can get it back in there and it's not gonna, you know, be off. You can even tell, like at an angle, let me see if I can get a good angle. Probably not gonna be able to provide a good angle for this. But the post goes in first because it is actually longer than the rest. But so you just put the post in, everything else kind of lines up. Don't force it, just gently press, and that's it. After you've, and I'll just take it off one more time. And see, even with me being practiced at it, it does take a little bit of time and finesse. But once you get that off, you'll be able to get at these pieces right here. Most likely someone has spilt something sticky under this sliding part right here. And you can get that off by just pressing underneath there very carefully. This is a very small part and very brittle. In fact, it's so small and brittle, I think I'm gonna leave mine alone, but you just gently press it from underneath this clip here. And I'll get a close-up of that as well, if at all possible. But you see, there's a clip right there, and you just press it and pop this off, and then you just try to clean this whole area out, making sure that you don't get any, like, no excessive wetness in here. Maybe a cotton ball with like very, very little, like 90% IPA. Again, I'm just trying to get you to where you can get to see this part and see that this little sliding thing right here is usually the problem. Sometimes these clips here are broken. I don't really know how to fix that other than like trying to experiment with super glue and stuff, but even then, if that clip's broken, unfortunately, I think you might be out of luck. I don't think anyone has 3D printed one or anything like that, but it could be something that could be done in the future. Who knows? 3D printers are wonderful and everything's changing. Technology is great. But again, you just pop the thing in there and then you test it a couple of times and you should be good. And yeah, I'm really hoping that I've helped you save a PlayStation 1 with a very simple tool. I think you could even possibly do it with like just a thin enough like flat toothpick or something. But again, just be careful. Make sure that you go slow and steady, and you can get this button cover off of a PlayStation 1 without having to break the warranty seal. And that's it for this episode of Mondane Designs. I'm your host, Mondane, and I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it. I have videos on the 1st and 15th of every month, and I look forward to sharing them with you. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.